When you say nation, you talk about land. Our land is Africa. That's undeniable. This land is not our land.
That what Frantz Fanon's theory, psychological theory, is that we're in a post-colonial psychology. And what he calls that is an auto-destructional stage, which is the oppressor will oppress for so long that the oppressed no longer have to be physically oppressed. They do it to themselves automatically.
I'm black. Do you hear me, man? Do you understand? I am black. I'm a nigga. You understand me? I was born black, I live black, and I'm gonna die probably because I'm black. Because some cracker that knows I'm black better than you, nigga, is probably gonna put a bullet in the back of my head.
Hey man, it's like this, man. It's like, you know, it's like it's revolution time, man. There's no questions asked. Revolution is here. You know what I'm saying? We the youth, we the young. It's time for us to break loose, you know? We don't have no freedom, no rights, man. We slaves right now. Everybody's still a slave. That's what they told us today. In other words, you still a slave. No matter how much money you got, you still ain't shit. So, you know, it's on, just like that. Just like that.
Are really ready and willing to pay the price that is necessary for freedom. Our people will always be walking around here second-class citizens, or what you call 20th century slaves.
What price are you talking about, sir?
The price of freedom is death.
What's the figure?
I mean, what are you in this for? You want power, you want revenge, you know? What is it?
It's simple, Willie. I just want to be free.
Uhuru, welcome to Uhuru Mindset. See Kimba here with Feist. This is Revolutionary Conversations for Revolutionary Times. This show is brought to you by the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, or NPDUM for short. I want to acknowledge our president, Columbai Antoinette, who is currently running for alderperson of Ward 3 in St. Louis, as well as the founder and leader of the Uhuru Movement, Chairman Amali Yashatella. Uhuru means freedom in Swahili and is the conceptual basis for which we organize and develop African or Black-controlled institutions. In addition to resisting the colonial system that has been designed to subject us to a perpetual state of subjugation. Uhuru Mindset is meant to raise our consciousness to our identity and function of colonialism in our daily lives, in ways that we can transcend systems of oppression and exploitation. Our show will consist of interviews with ordinary people from our community to discuss past and present ways colonialism affected them and their community, and what we can do to transform our conditions. Colonialism is a system in which one group directly or indirectly controls the politics or economics of another group. This has traditionally been done by settlement from the colonizer, but today colonialism can be exercised through indirect rule or neo-colonialism. We plan to bring dynamic and stimulating discussions to our viewers and represent an alternative to culture vultures and opportunists who have no intention on bringing practical solutions to our problems. This show is for the African or Black working class and poor. This show represents your interests and will tell your story. Anyone can watch, but this message is for you. Uhuru.
Malcolm Garvey Huey studied Malcolm Garvey Huey. Their life was like a movie. Studied Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey. Their life was like a movie. I die, I organize. Everything I do's revolutionize. I build what's good for the whole damn hood. Study G's like these, really think you should. I studied Malcolm Garvey Huey. Malcolm Garvey Huey. Marcel Cody with the Uzi. Listening to Fela Kuti. I'm Ogun with the machete. Especially if it's Delhi, got the Santos for the Hexy to protect me, so respect me. This is heavy, legendary, revolutionary. My wifey, she resurrect me when they thought they had me buried. Took me out the cemetery, now it's family over every. Cause it's all that's necessary to avoid the commissary. I'ma live for you five, so I stop getting high. If you know, then you recognize it's that black and brown pride. This the power of the mind, RBG, God divine. You can see through the lies if you could read between the lines.
I live, I die, I organize. Everything I do revolutionize.
All right, Uhuru. Welcome to our show. This being our 4th episode, and I appreciate everyone that have been continuing to view Uhuru Mindset as we bring this show to you to organize you into developing a mindset of freedom. And so the conversation that we're going to have today is with Aminra Farrah. This brother is an organizer in the Bronx, New York, organizing the gangs for revolutionary action, and definitely appreciate the work that he's doing. I actually met Aminra on a discussion. Actually, what was it? I think it was a discussion around Judas and the Black Messiah, and Fred Hampton Jr. Was coming on to speak, and we were talking, and I remember this brother came on and he talked about the work that he was doing in the Bronx, and I just wanted to connect with you right away. I had hit you up directly in the chat, like, yo, make sure we can connect because of the work that we're doing as far as MPDM in New York. And I felt like, we had to build this bridge so we can, the more of us that's working together, the more effective we can be into bringing about, the changes in our conditions as African and Black people in this country. So I appreciate you being here, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. And yourself? I'm blessed. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I can really say. Like, I'm good. I'm able to, wake up every day, cater to my family, cater to the people, so I'm well. I'm well.
All right, indeed. That's good to hear, man. So if you can start off by telling us who you are and I guess like some background, what led you into doing the work that you do in the community?
Well, my name is Aminra Farrah. I'm 28 years old. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Crip, part of the Rolling 30s Harlem Mafia Crip. I've been banging for 17 years. I joined very, very early. I joined at the age of 11. So now I'm 28 now. And basically what led me to basically, doing the work when it comes to our people is the fact that the acronym of which is what I'm a part of and what it stands for. It stands for Community, Revolution, and Progress. So that alone right there says it in its name itself, what it is that, the overall mission is supposed to be. Now, throughout time, yeah, things had changed and things got corrupted due to certain circumstances. But me being involved and me basically knowing the history and knowing the background is what allowed me to come out here and say this work has to be done, because I can't say that I'm an official Crip and I can't say that I'm for Black people if I'm not applying what exactly the acronym says, So I decided to basically put myself into the movement and decided to just change the narrative on how gangs is being perceived, especially when I learned, what was the original core principle of why these gangs was in formation, or organizations, I would rather say, was in formation.
Yeah. So when you initially joined the Crips, were you aware of this information, or you learned this later?
Nah, I wasn't really aware of the information. You know what I'm saying? When I first joined, I wasn't really too much aware of the information. It was just like, it was just like signing up for your local gang. You know what I'm saying? Your local neighborhood that's in your organization, that's inside of your area where you live at. So it was just like, sign up. Like I said, I joined very early. I was 11 years old when I joined. So it was like, I'm not really too conscious about, what's happening with the people and what's going on with our communities, what's even happening amongst our children. And I wasn't conscious of those things. I'm only 11, you know what I'm saying? Only thing that's on my mind is, being with my peers and doing what we doing as peers and being in the streets and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, as I continue to go along. So no, I didn't really identify with the whole movement. It's not until I basically got more mature and me being inside of the organization and actually knowing what the acronyms mean and what it stands for, that's when I started doing the actual research on where did this come from? Why did it come about? What made this what it is today? So.
Okay. Yeah, and that acronym again, you said it's Community Revolutionary. What was that acronym?
That's Community, Revolution, and Progress.
Okay. And so the Crips started out in California, correct? Is it Los Angeles?
Right.
Exact. All right. Now you had said Rolling 30s. Now, so that's a particular set within the Crips. Right. All right. And so is there different Crip? I'm just thinking of this probably going down a whole different path, but I'm just like, how many sets are there? Do you know?
Well, I can't actually put a number on the sets, you know what I'm saying? But it's many a sets that's out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, as the organization got bigger, you know what I'm saying, the sets got longer, they got larger, you know what I'm saying? Like, with recruitment and where certain areas of people live at, because being, like, Crip is not just a a state thing or a nation thing. It's a worldwide thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you have Crips in Alaska, you have Crips in freaking Indonesia, you have Crips in freaking Africa, you have Crips in many different parts of the world. So
okay. Now when you learned about the revolutionary aspect of the Crips, so the foundation of the Crips and why they were created was to do revolutionary work, but then things got lost down the way. Like the path that the Crips were supposed to be on, so they got altered. And because when we think about the Crips and the Bloods, you know, we think in gang banging, we think in violence, drug dealing, just a lot of negativity and destruction in our communities. So you're saying like that wasn't the intention of organizing or establishing the Crips. How did it get lost? Like what was it that, you know, turned them down a different path? Yeah.
Well, the way that it basically got lost, right, is when counterintelligence program was implemented, right? And J. Edgar Hoover was the head of the FBI, like how he was, right? What J. Edgar Hoover would do is, you know, he would label these organizations as Black extremist organizations. All you got to do is go to the FBI vault, and you could check this out for those that's curious about it. You know what I'm saying? And what he would do is he would basically, you know, put guns in certain neighborhoods, and he would put drugs in certain neighborhoods, and then, you know,
you're on mute.
He'll have somebody from the police force dress up as a like not even a rival member, as an opposite member. You find
you went on mute.
Yeah, somebody is calling me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he would basically, you know, cause an actual war, because he would have somebody from the outside not even the outside. He would have somebody from outside the set, but that's a part of another organization, basically, you know, come in and cause some type of situation that happened between both areas. You feel what I'm saying? So basically, he would have one of his own officers or one of his own agents dress up. Me being a Crip, he would have somebody dress up as a Blood, and they would come into the community, and they would probably shoot somebody in the community, but then they would leave like a red flag there, you know? So then when we see it, the first thing we think about is, well, that's a red flag that's left there. So, you know, that had to be somebody that had Blood that did this. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how he was able to, you know, orchestrate his infiltration, along with putting the drugs and the guns inside the community. Because what people got to remember is the fact that when these organizations came about because of the fact that, number one, they was protecting their communities first. It was white gangs that was out there that they needed to be protected from. And then two, you had the height of police brutality that was going on, especially when the Rodney King situation came about. And as the Black Panthers had basically, you know, went into his demise, this was the next thing that was basically emerging. But a lot of people don't know is that, you know, Raymond Lee Washington, this is the founder of the Crips. He was going to the Black Panthers breakfast clubs, you know what I'm saying? Like they early morning breakfasts and stuff like that. So as he was attending those things, he was basically getting that information, getting that knowledge and so on and so forth. And he wanted to be a part of that. But because of the fact that he was too young at the time, what he did was decided to say he's going to create his own organization. But it was behind emulating what he saw.
Yeah, that's deep, man. You brought up a lot of points. I think that's some vital information for our people to know. It had me thinking of even the movie Judas and the Black Messiah that just came out, and when Fred Hampton had went and he talked to and I think in the movie they may have used a different name, but he would go to the Vice Lords, and he would go to the Blackstone Rangers. He was organizing. His intention was to organize these social groups or gangs for revolutionary action. And so what the FBI was doing, you talked about the counterintelligence program, the FBI would try to cause dissension or disagreement between these groups, so they'll end up fighting one another. And this type of action was done against this type of means to try to cause a division within our communities between different groups, happening between the Vice Lords, the Blackstone Rangers, but like we had brought up with the Bloods and the Crips, how they would, you know, infiltrate these organizations and have people, just like they had with the Black Panther Party with informants, it would be like informants that were inside of these Bloods and Crips organizations, causing dissension between members in different sets. But also just even, we have to understand too, is like the demise of the Black Panther Party, as you had mentioned, opened the door for these other organizations to come about, but didn't really have the leadership or the politics that the Black Panther Party could have provided them. And so I think like that, that was a disconnect that existed between, but that was all done intentionally though by the FBI or the U.S. government, because we have to call it what it is. The FBI is the U.S. government. But yeah, I think those are some great points to bring up. I want to encourage too for people who are viewing to watch the documentary "Bastards of the Party" that speaks to some of the things that we're talking about. Because this connection, we go to Los Angeles, and the Black Panther Party, which was destroyed in Los Angeles by the FBI government, opened the door, and also the flooding of drugs. The flooding of drugs in the community, and the leaving of jobs that the Black people were in those communities were relying upon. So you got a community that is being, you got a community that doesn't have the resources to be able to survive, now turns to the drugs that's being peddled into the communities. So yeah, all of that was going on. But yeah, I think those are some great points. So this leads, so you learned about this history, and what's the next thing that you began to do once you learned this history? How did this affect what you wanted to do in the community?
Well, when I basically stumbled upon this history, the first thing I told myself was, before I could reform anybody else's mind, I got to reform my mind first. So I got to be the one to lead by example. So when I started to do that, and I started to basically, stand firm on that, people started to, they started to gravitate, but you had those that still opposed too. You feel what I'm saying? But then it was like, because of the fact that I done had so much time in at this time, you feel what I'm saying? It came to the point where it was like, what made him transition into that? Like, what was the reason for him going into that direction? And like I used to tell other Crips, I was basically used to tell them, like, I can't identify you as saying you Crip because, you wear blue and you wear these crates on your neck and you have a flag in your pocket, and this is what makes you to be Crip. At the end of the day, before we are even in any set, you got to remember that we're Crip first, because if our sets was to basically be extinguished, we will still be Crip at the end of the day. And that acronym stands for Community, Revolution, and Progress. What you see today, that's not what that is. So how can you say that you are in alignment with that if this is not the duties that you're performing?
Mm-hmm. Indeed. So once you begin to develop your consciousness and awareness of, what the Crips is all about, you begin to organize, like currently, what type of work are you doing within the community?
Well, currently what I'm doing is with the community is, I'm going around, I'm organizing the different organizations, and I'm basically, putting them in a situation where it's like, how do we relate? Because it's like many people try to say, if I'm so, aware of things, then why do I not just leave that organization? Why would I just, go ahead and just go join the Black Power organization? And I'm like, there's no reason for me to do that, because this is what this organization is. It is a Black Power organization. You feel what I'm saying? And on top of that, you're never gonna get the minds of other gang members when you're not somebody that's basically relates to the thing that they relate to. You feel what I'm saying? Like, how they have the ex-gang members that be trying to talk to gang members? The reason why that don't really connect is because of the fact that, you're an ex-gang member now. So it's like, you're not up on current politics, and you don't have that same understanding to what's going on today. So it will be easier for them to receive the message from somebody that's still actively involved versus somebody that's not actively involved anymore. And then when it comes to, the community work, what I try to basically do is I try to implement, protection of that community or all our communities. You feel what I'm saying? Where we base that, I try to implement, youth programs where we could basically steer the youth to a different direction other than the directions that they already believe that's set out for them. I try to basically educate on financial literacy. I try to educate on the law. I try to educate on the Black Power structure and the Black Power movement. You feel what I'm saying? Our struggles and our history, So there's many different aspects that we are bringing into fruition that's going to basically come into like one seed, but it's basically many different aspects that's being put on the table at the moment.
Uhuru, that's powerful, my brother. That's powerful. Hey, Fice, you had anything that you wanted to ask or
Yeah,
add?
everything was rolling so loving. I was learning from what Aminra was saying. But I'm 42, 41. I go back and forth depending on how I feel that day, right? But for when I was younger, I understood the Crips and the Bloods being a West Coast organizations. You know what I'm saying? And towards the late '90s, I felt the way, and a couple other brothers that my age felt the kind of way. And I remember a line Tupac said. He said something about the real B's and C's, and these other cats is copycats, and these was G's. And it was a sentiment like, how did the street organizations from the West Coast make its way to the East Coast?
Well, you see, that got to do with a lot with people, traveling. You feel what I'm saying? People travel. People eventually leave the West Coast and they come into the East Coast. You feel what I'm saying? That's like the East Coast in there saying that, out there in the West Coast, they got hip hop in the West Coast now. You feel what I'm saying? But we the originators of hip hop because that started here in the Bronx on the East Coast. But at the same time, they have the same culture that we have. We all the same people. So it's not really about, being a copycat or anything of that nature. It's the fact that when you create a movement and you create something that's so powerful, of course you needed to, well, I can't even say that. You just got to expect the fact that something that's so strong and that's so relatable and that's so powerful is going to germinate. You feel what I'm saying? It's going to germinate into many different communities. It's going to germinate into many different, aspects. And see, the number one thing that people on the West Coast didn't think, they didn't think that this thing was going to go nationwide. You feel what I'm saying? They thought it was going to be something in LA. No, people travel. You got people that come from the islands. That's basically, inside these organizations that end up touching the city. Like my set, for example, you feel what I'm saying? My set, brothers from Belize brought this over here to New York City. You feel what I'm saying? Not even strictly LA. Brothers from Belize brought this straight here to New York City, right in 1989. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, as people basically relocate and move on and stuff of that nature, this is how this thing travels. And it's not about being a copycat. It's the fact that, we are all the same people, no matter which side of the coast we're on. And we identify with basically what's being put before us. So this is how that went around.
Appreciate that answer, because I'm pretty sure Tupac has calculated everything he did and everything he said. But anytime when you look at media, like we talked about, I think we talked about the way the gangs are portrayed. I think before we started recording, and hopefully we get back into that conversation. But there's a way that the white ruling class or the COINTELPRO or Alphabet Boys, whatever you want to call them, there's a way that they utilize all the contradictions within our communities to use it for their benefit.
Absolutely.
And really important to them is the media, the music, the movies. And a lot of our people understand that, these are movies, this is music, but there is an influence by hearing the same message and seeing the same message over and over again. Messages that we don't control. So my question to you is pretty much, let's say that there's a narrative that's being put out there, like, and you talked about it before too, what people's perception of gangs are. Like, what is the tact, or what kind of approach you're trying to take to bring the Crips original moniker back to its true stature, so that the people know this history, so that people know what the real meaning of Crips is and why it is seen the way it's seen today.
So once again, just appreciate everybody being here and being a part of this very important discussion. These is the the topics and discussions that we want to have, so we can have a better understanding of every aspect of our community, the dynamic in our community, what we can do to develop greater institutions, going back to the original foundation of a lot of our culture. Not just on the continent of Africa, but even here, we develop systems and institutions that sort of lost its way, as we see today in this conversation, talking about the creation of the Crips and what they stood for, and in ways that, and I guess when we come back, we want to talk about how we can get back to that original path. So just want to make some announcements. Every Sunday, on the Burning Spear channel on YouTube, you can watch Amali taught me. Amali Yeshitela is the chairman of the African People's Socialist Party and the leader of the Uhuru movement. So that's every Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. You have the opportunity to listen to African internationalism being laid out, the theory of our movement. And then you can directly ask questions live on YouTube and have those questions read and answered. So make sure that you tune in every Sunday for that. Also, the president of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, Columbayi Antoinette, running for third ward alderperson in St. Louis, needs your support. She has made it through the primary. Actually, the first day, what is the general? I get them mixed up, but she's moving on to the next stage where she's running head to head. It's a runoff, and she needs as much support as she can from us. You don't necessarily have to be in St. Louis to support President Columbayi, but you can support her in other ways, financially, phone banking. Go to votecolumbayi.org, votecolumbayi.org. If someone can put that in the chat, that would be lovely. But that's votecolumbayi.org, and you can find out how you can support her that way. And so, yeah, that's my announcements, and Vice, going on to you.
Right on. So appreciate those announcements there. I want to make a call for membership at this point, everybody. Once again, my name is Vice. I'm the vice president of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. We say Uhuru because Uhuru means freedom is also welcoming and a greeting that we use amongst our comrades. Because we are clear that, Uhuru should be on the minds of our people 24/7, 365. Freedom should be on our minds daily. And our organization, we're clear, we understand that we have to be our own liberators. There's no stimulus check. There's no training. There's nobody coming to parachute from the sky to change the conditions in our community, okay? Whatever kind of spiritual background, whatever kind of religious or even a class that you may feel like you're upper class, you're middle class, or whatever it is, we understand inside the Uhuru movement, we want all of our people, all Black people, to realize that we need to be our own liberators, right? We need everybody to go to npdom.org, go to join membership. We have sustainable memberships, annual memberships at all different rates, from the unemployed to the student to someone that, be able to afford a sustainable membership. But we're clear that our organization is get at defending the rights of African people in the U.S. and around the world. And we stand in solidarity with all oppressed peoples. So whether it comes to campaigns like AfricansTowardsGenocide.org, or it comes to Black community control of the police, we clear that Black power matters. In order for Black power to matter, we have to build our organizations to the capacity to do so. So I urge everyone to join our organization, NPDOM. Go to npdom.org. There's memberships as low as $5. But there's different rates for everybody. Everybody has a part to play. And though we are winning back our people back into political life, we know the only thing that's going to change any of these contradictions again is us. So we have to take the responsibility for the world we live in. We have to get off the stoops, get off the fence, and come back into political life, everybody. Uhuru.
All right, Uhuru, thank you for that. So we want to get back to our guests. We're here with Aminra Farrah, who is giving us the history of the Crips. Aminra joined the Crips at the age of 11 years old. And then as a member of the Crips, later on learned about the original, I guess you could say, the principles, what the principles of the Crips were and what they originally were founded for. And learning this put him on a different trajectory. And he's talking to us about this change that he has made on his path. And so there was a question that was laid out prior to us making those announcements. And yeah, I just want to go back to you. Like, I guess the question was revolving around things that you can do or what you're doing to try to get the Crips back on that path.
Mm-hmm. So I believe that the question that was asked before we went into announcements was about, you know, how do I basically get every other member that's of the Crips to basically fall in line with the same mission and understanding of what I have going on. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, because I'm still active and because I'm able to have that correlation, what I always try to do is remind them that, you know, this is the umbrella that we are standing under. This is the umbrella that we chose. This is the umbrella that we chose to defend. And this umbrella stands for community, revolution, and progress. We cannot call ourselves Crips if we are not about the community, if we are not participating in the revolution, and if we are not keeping it in progress. We're basically perpetrating the fraud if we're not going by these acronyms. This was never about, I'm gonna kill you because you wear red, or you should kill me because I wear blue, or, you know, we from different towns, so we should be doing this, that, and the third. No, this was not about a self-destruction path. It was counterintelligence program that made it that way, and it was the lack of resources at that time of 69 going into 70 to 72 that made it that way, especially with the drugs being funneled into the communities, and, you know, the lack of jobs and stuff like that. And you got to also remember too to take into account that when these organizations was created by founders, yes, but that was young as well too. They wasn't grown, mature men when they made these organizations. No, these people were young people when they made this. You know what I'm saying? See how Fred Hampton was 21 when he basically did what he did? It was people that was young that made these kind of situations. Like, Raymond Lee Washington was very young when he did this. You know what I'm saying? Raymond Lee Washington lived to about, what, 23 years old, I believe, 24, I believe. I'm not too sure on that, but I'm gonna have to go and do the research on that again. But his life was short-lived. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Raymond Lee lived. I think he lived for a while. Some of the other people got cut off. I think Raymond Lee died like later on when he was older. But I know he was definitely. He might have been an adolescent though when he started.
When he formulated this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and it's like, that's why I always try to remind people, let them know, like, you know, if you gang banging, and especially you saying that you Crip, you know what I'm saying? Crip stands for Community Revolution and Progress. If I don't see you performing out those activities, then I can't say that you are Crip. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know we all been there, and I know we all been in our ignorant stages where we undone some things that we're not proud of. You know what I'm saying? But it's about that time that we mature in these stages where, you know, we owe it to our people. We owe it to the next generation of youth to basically see that, you know, it's a better way for them to do things than compared to how we was doing things. It's a better position that we could put them in compared to how we was putting ourselves in certain positions. And it's like what I tell, you know, other big homies, and not just for Crips, but for all gangs. I cannot acknowledge you to be somebody's big homie or anybody's big homie if, one, you don't take care of your own kids. If you have kids, that's one. You know what I'm saying? Two, if you are only allowed to basically have your peers and your group of peers go on a destructive path, as far as the only thing you'll know how to do is put them on the block and carry drugs, to basically sell drugs to their own community. That's going to be basically counterproductive to their community. You know what I'm saying? If you only know how to put a gun in their hand and tell them, oh, you know, go and do this and go and do that, that's not a big homie. That's just somebody that doesn't care about you, that's going to say, you know, you a part of this, you're going to go put your life on the line for this. And, you know, if you be in jail, then you be in jail. If you die, I'm going to just say rest in peace and then smoke a blunt, and then that's forgotten about. You know what I'm saying? We don't want that for our youth to be coming about, because when that happens, the only thing that's going to happen is the person next behind is going to be replaced. You know what I'm saying? So if you a big homie, you can't put your soldiers or you know, your members in your set inside of a better position, then, you know, you're counterproductive towards your own homies. I can't say that I love you and you in my set, and I can't say that I love you and the only thing I know how to do for you is put you in the street to do nothing but all the wrong things, especially to your own people, the people that look like you. You feel what I'm saying? It's like we so quick and prone to attack those that look like us, but the ones that's colonizing us and the ones that's oppressing us, we are the ones that's basically saying, well, you know, they got all this behind them, they got the law behind this, that, and the third. So, you know, we're not gonna basically defend ourselves against that. But at the end of the day, we call ourselves gangsters. So I don't understand that. We should be gangsters for in the protection of our people, not in the destruction of our people. That doesn't make sense. It's counterproductive, especially when you understand the actual term. It's like with Bloods, for example. You know what I'm saying? For Bloods, blood stands for brotherly love over oppression, override oppression and destruction. I'm gonna say that again. That stands for brotherly love, override oppression and destruction. There's no brotherly love if you gonna tell me that Bloods is out here killing Bloods or Bloods is out here killing Crips, and we all black at the end of the day. We all African melanated people at the end of the day. We are all carbon people of this world. So you cannot tell me it's some form of brotherly love if the only thing I know how to do is perceive you as an enemy or as an op, like the young would like to say. And now we're basically going to self-extermination and wasting each other. It's counterproductive. So it's like the best thing for us to do is to get back to the original path of what our acronym stands for and fight that cause and protection of our people. Just last summer, as a matter of fact, I did a rally, right? Basically for the people. The people had wanted to do a rally and stuff, so cool. And we did a rally, but I had all the gangs come out. I had the Bloods come out, the Crips come out, I had the Yankees come out, I had the Few Stones come out. I had a couple of gangs come out, you know what I'm saying? So a couple of Nation of Guards of Earth. I had a few organizations out there. So we was basically escorting these people, you know what I'm saying, to and from their destinations on what they wanted to do and where they wanted to go, you know what I'm saying? And we was in the protection of the people. So when police think that when they thought they was going to come into harass and tell them they can't be here, they now have to think twice now, because it's like, these are not just protesters you're dealing with. Now you're dealing with gang members. And you know that gang members is going to do what gang members is going to do. So you basically not going to take the time to say you're going to assault a peaceful protester. You're not going to take the time to say, oh, we're going to violate this peaceful protester because of the fact that, those are protesters and they're going to just walk around with their signs, this, and the third. Now, see, with a gang member, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what to expect. Majority of us is already inside your institutions anyway. So you don't know what to expect when it comes from us. Now, if we are here in the protection of our people and on the line of defense of our people, then you best to believe that if anything was to take place, we're about to die behind protecting our people. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, one thing that I noticed that when it came to these protesters in New York is that they would send 1,000 cops, right? To, guard and look behind these protesters and, follow these protesters, and they was like 1,000 cops to follow these protesters. When we did this thing right here and we had the gangs come out and protect the people, you know how many cop cars followed us? Simply one.
Wow.
Because you know what that means? It's like to see so many different organizations at one time that's not going to war with each other and that's standing in solidarity with another and inside the protection of the people. You're not about to think stupid enough to say, I'm going to go and challenge these people, because you don't know what to come from these gang members. You don't know what's going to come from these gang members. Most of us is willing to die already. You know what I'm saying? We already on that path where it's like, yo, listen, we ready to go however it is. This is what we here for. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you're not going to basically seem like it's okay for you to violate our people and think that we're not going to respond.
That's man, I was sitting back here soaking it up. Go ahead, Brother Feist. I'm soaking it up.
Organization is powerful. And when people see organization, you can't do nothing but respect it. And that what we say all the time, organization is power, and the state knows what power looks like, they know what organization looks like. And that's why they put so much emphasis into COINTEL programs and making the conditions so bad within the community that we turn on each other, as opposed to focusing on the main catalyst of our contradictions. But as you were speaking, Aminra, I was wondering, like, okay, now you've made a certain amount of strides with the work that you're doing, and you're continuing to do it, and you have a passion and energy that's great, and I hope it replicates itself, and I'm hoping that's what happens as you keep doing this work forward. But strengthening, I mean, you're on the show right now, but like, what other kind of ties are you seek to strengthening? Other organizations or other kind of events or any kind of things that you got planning coming up that that other organizations can be a part of or invited to, so that we can keep this relationship that we have here, going.
It's good that you actually asked that, because when it starts to get hot come summertime, I'm basically planning a universal meeting, you know what I'm saying? So in the terms of gangs, a universal is basically, when sets come together to have a congregation, you know what I'm saying? But just for that one gang only. So me being Crip and I call Universal, or somebody call Universal, you know what I'm saying? That's for all sets of Crip to come together and, have a congregation on, what's the things that we need to be updated on, or, how could we do things to change certain narratives, or how can we do things to fix our communities, stuff of that nature. But see, this thing, what I'm doing is, this university I'm doing is, this is just not for Crips only. This is for all gang organizations. You know what I'm saying? If you consider yourself to be in the gang, then you need to be a part of this universal meeting. So, and I also, you know, I extend that invitation to other Black Power organizations too, because I need these other gang members to basically feel the urgency and the understanding to see, like, you know, the people is relying on us. You know what I'm saying? The people relies on us. It's no reason why that, you know, people should be in their communities and feel like so much police brutality could be going on inside of their communities, but yet they have a whole gang that's stationed right outside of their houses. It's no way. You feel what I'm saying? Nobody should be sitting there worried about having to come upstairs and having to be robbed or being attacked or being brutalized or raped or anything of that nature when you have a whole gang or whole organization that's right outside of your home. But, you know, at the same time, that comes with the understanding of the people as well. You have to get familiar with these members that's on your block. You know what I'm saying? You have to express your concerns when it comes to these members as well, too. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to just have them look at you as if, like, you know, well, you already have your own formulated and perception, opinion of who we are anyway, or how we are. So it makes no sense to even communicate or talk with you anyway. They have to know how to build and establish that relationship when it comes to these different communities. You know what I'm saying? I always tell a lot of people this. If you got that connection when it comes to you and the members on your block, the members on your block is going to respond faster before you can call somebody in the police department to come and help you. You know what I'm saying? The police department is not looking to help you. They're looking to railroad you. They're looking to, and, you know, put you a part of their system. You know what I'm saying? Or they're looking to eliminate both parties if they can. But when it comes to the people that's already that's in your neighborhood, that's a part of these organizations, get familiar with them. Start to establish a relationship with them. Because when things go on, these are the people you're going to want to be able to call on. So I'm calling the Universal to come up sometime in the summertime. I don't have an exact date yet. But as soon as I get it, I'll basically shoot it to y'all so y'all can have that information. And, you know, I started this organization. The organization is called Bang United. It stands for Birthing a New Generation United. And the reason why it's called Birthing a New Generation United, because of the fact that this is what we're doing. We're basically making a new way. We're making a new generation of unity and solidarity coming amongst our organization that's on these streets. You know what I'm saying? And this is going to set the pave way for the ones that's coming behind us. We're not educating, you know, young people inside, young brothers and sisters to say, oh, you know, we're positive and we're peaceful, so it's okay for you to join the gang. No, we're not saying that. We're telling you, no, don't join the gang. Instead, you could be an entrepreneur. Instead, you could go to school, go pick up a trade. You know what I'm saying? Instead, you could go to school, go to college and become some type of lawyer, become some type of doctor. You can do these things to help benefit your people. You know what I'm saying? The whole point of changing this thing is not to make it attractive to the youth and make them want to be a part of it. No, it's to basically let them know, like, you know, we did this, but that doesn't mean that you have to do this. And, you know, our change and our transition is about making sure you get ahead in life and you get to the best position that you can get into. You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, we understand reality. We know that regardless of how many times we try to stop people from joining these organizations, people are still going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So now the best thing to do is, if they're going to wind up joining into these organizations, then they might as well join into something that's righteous, that's peaceful, that's more concerned about their people and more concerned about furthering the essence of their people, compared to them joining into something that's going to be like, you know, this is about murder and killing of your own. And, you know, if you get caught for it, then, you know, you got to do your prison time and you can't tell, you got to hold it down. Or, you know, if you don't get caught, then, you know, you're the realest street that ever did it. And we need to stop making that something that's so attractive to our youth. We need to stop degrading our youth with thinking that, you know, it's okay to go to prison. It's not okay to go to prison. You know what I'm saying? You should not even want anybody in your youth to go to prison. It's not okay to do that. So the best way we could do that is just to deter the behavior.
Yeah, I was going to add, you have made so many great points, and it had me thinking about the perception that people have of Bloods and Crips, and of course a lot of that is of their own doing, but we already know like what influenced them. We already talked about the history and what like really the impact that the government had as far as like flooding the drugs into the communities. The Bloods and Crips just having to turn towards the drugs, the guns, and the violence, right? And that had a lot to do with, you know, government infiltration and government sort of instigating this beef between these two different groups. Now, But what I want to say is like the media perception of the Bloods and Crips have everybody seeing, you know, if somebody's a Blood and a Crip, oh, okay, they're all about negativity. And I think like the community feeds into that, because earlier you talked about like the community sort of just like not wanting to deal with anybody that's gang affiliated because they like, oh no, you know, that's negativity right there. I don't want no parts of it because you know, they're dangerous. But at the same time, I think it's just when you think about it, it's people in the community that's not even gang affiliated that engage in negativity, you know. But you know, it's just this person happens to be a Crip or a Blood engaged in that activity, and so you know, it gives a negative. How I want to say, like by default, because this person is a Crip, okay, then the Crips, this is what the Crips is all about, you know. And so I think you're doing a great job of just trying to change people's perception of the Crips, because so when people join the Crips, they don't necessarily are joining because they, you know, the Crips is about negativity, but they're joining the Crips because the Crips is about building their community. And I think that's what you're trying to do with your organization. That's a dope name too. What's that? Bang United?
Yeah,
bring it
United.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like with that organization right there, you know what I'm saying? Yes, I have a 501c3, but I don't take government funding. You know why? Because I know what government does. I know the whole purpose of counterintelligence program, and I know what with the crowd that I'm dealing with, the organization of which I'm dealing with, I know how severe that is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna allow a counterproductive government to fund my organization for you to try to dictate and control what can happen with my organization. You know what I'm saying? My organization is created upon the protection of the people, and you're not protecting our people. You know what I'm saying? So I can't even allow that to happen. So what I do is when I basically do these events, this comes out of my pocket. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem with that. It is what it is. This is what I signed up for. This is what I'm looking to do. Anybody that donates is always appreciated, but I always tell people this is going to get done regardless. So you know,
that's the next question. Like, is there a way? You know, this you know, is a platform for you to talk about the work that you're doing, and also, you know, letting people know, is there a way that they can support the work that you're doing? I wanted to just like leave this as an opportunity for people just to once again just know about the work that you're doing and how they can support you.
Well, you know, anybody can follow me on my Instagram page. That's Aminra Farrah. That's AMINFARRAH. But it's with an underscore. So it's an underscore between Aminra and Farrah. So you got Aminra underscore Farrah. And then you have my Facebook as well. It's the same thing as my IG. It's just Aminra Farrah, but that's the one that's without the underscore. When it comes to Bang United, you could also follow Bang United's page. That's Birth in the New Generation United. And its West name is spelled Bang United on IG. So it's Bang underscore United on IG. And you know, anybody can contact me, anybody can hit me up. I'm always gonna basically respond. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to community events like that, we always let people know when these things is coming up so they could able to have a chance to donate if they want to donate, or just to come out and be a spectator, or just to put themselves a part of the movement. You know what I'm saying? So we always make this information available to those that basically want to be, you know, aligned and want to be, you know, alignment what's going on and what's happening, and want to basically place themselves apart. You know what I'm saying? So we always let people know that, you know, we're not strangers. We somebody that's approachable. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we could have these conversations. We could, and the main thing is that, you know, we want to hear from people. We want to hear from what do people expect of these gangs. You know what I'm saying? What do they expect of these organizations? Because we know what we know, but we need to know what the people want from us as well too. You know what I'm saying? On how we can contribute to our communities. What's different things that we can do to help enhance our communities, you know? Because one thing I noticed is the fact that, you know, I'm 28, I started this work when I was 22. You know what I'm saying? I did this in 2015. So I started this when I was 22. So when people hear that, you know, I'm doing this and they see that I'm actually involved in gang membership, it's like surprises for them, because it's like, well, this is not something that normally happens. You're 22, well, you're 28 now, you know what I'm saying? You're involved in this organization that's determined to be a criminalized gang, you know what I'm saying? And you're speaking up in the aspects of protecting Black people and having everybody under one understanding to move in a protection and the furtherance of Black people. So it looks really, really surprising when they see these things happening. So, you know, as I always say, I'm always approachable. I'm always somebody that you can reach out to, have a conversation with. And when we have events coming up, yes, I basically let everybody know the information. I'll let people know if they want to donate, they could donate as well too. But just come out. Don't be afraid to, surround yourself around your own people, although we inside of these different organizations that these other people want to basically paint as criminalized gangs.
Uhuru, it's powerful. I appreciate you coming on and having this discussion with us. We definitely want to give people an opportunity to ask questions. So we're gonna close this out. Vice, you can sum it up, and for those who want to stick around and ask some questions and make any comments, we want to allow you to be able to do that. So once again, yeah.
And one more thing, because we got to deal with hip hop as well too. That's another thing with the gang members. You know what I'm saying? But I'm basically like showing them like we don't have to rap about the grading lyrics when it comes to our people. You know what I'm saying? And in retrospect to that, we have a song that's coming out. My brother named Wu Flacco. You know what I'm saying? He just made a song called Changes, and this is basically talking towards our people and the upliftment and the betterment of our people. It's a visual that's coming out for it. It promotes gang unity. It promotes the understanding of, the Black Power movement, the Black Power struggle. And, we just basically trying to change the narrative on everything because, the music dictates the culture. And if the music is righteous and the music is peaceful, the music is revolutionary, then it will plant the seeds in the minds of those that need to plant the seeds on.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us. We might not be the ones, but let's not be selfish, and because we're not going to change the world, let's not talk about how we should change it. I don't know how to change it, but I know if I keep talking about how dirty it is out here, somebody's going to clean it up. No one's ever trying to deal with this section. They're just moving away from it. And we're going to have more stars coming from together, but they're going to all move this way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all the society is doing is leaping.
There's still no changes. Wake up in the morning and I bump out. Wasn't a youngin' that had dreams for a jump shot. And I ain't wanna have no baby by no dumb thought. I had to hit the block and go and trap with a dumb Glock. With the bros is what you call them, right? Till they turn their back and snake you and you thinking you ain't calling right. I'ma get a pause tonight. You see how they dog us? Look, well tonight we gon' dog them right. Fuck Trump and everything that nigga stand for. Probably the only dude in the world I want my hands on.
Solid. So viewers, comrades, friends, family, supporters, comrades and all. I saw some kind of social media post not too long ago around Boyz II Men. I don't know if it was an anniversary of Boyz II Men or there was a character or something around John Singleton. But anyway, the popularity of that movie and its effect is well known throughout, in pop culture, right? And somebody made a post like, because of this movie, you have black men, acting infantile. You have all this stuff happening in the black community, and they were blaming the movie. They were blaming the characters in the movie for the contradictions that the black community was experiencing. And it made me think like, this is the kind of notion that we have to struggle with. This show that we're watching today, brothers and sisters, is called Uhuru Mindset. And we say Uhuru because Uhuru means freedom once again. But again, having a Uhuru mindset is having that freedom mindset, having a mindset where we're thinking about how we're going to get free constantly. And so that the media and the movies and the music that we get is controlled by our oppressors, it's controlled by the colonizers. So of course, the media, the movies, the music and all that stuff is going to put out a kind of imagery and cadence that's going to put across the kind of message that they want to put across. And oppressors, again, have no interest in the contradictions changing in our community for the better. You've seen like this last month, we just came out of Black History Month, and there was all this black business, propaganda put out. There was this black person that made this great invention, the first black person to be in this office. And even when you see the vice president, first female black vice president, but all these things is just as imagery. These are perceptions, and Uhuru Mindset is giving you the real deal. Uhuru Mindset brings on to our platform people from our community that resemble us, that look like us, that might have been us 10, 20 years ago, or it might be us in the future 10, 20 years ago, depending on the age of the viewer. But we're saying to have the Uhuru Mindset, comrades, family, and friends and all, we saying that, we got to change the narrative. We have to have the Uhuru Mindset. We got to have the freedom mindset. So when there's a popular narrative and media being pushed out there to give our people a certain kind of perception and actually give others a perception about us and ourselves that doesn't lead to our revolution or liberation, you see that's counterinsurgency, it's counterproductive, it's counter-revolutionary. And that's not going to work in a Uhuru mindset. To have the Uhuru mindset is to take all these different things, all this different media, all this different music and all these things and put it into a trajectory that's going to lead our people to liberation. It's going to lead our people to have an Uhuru mindset. And so we were so thankful to have the brother Aminra on with us today. And for those of you joining us for this particular taping, we thank you for joining us because we understand that you are coming to winning the understanding that we got to have an Uhuru mindset. Tell your friends, tell your families, let's promote this show. Let's promote our guests. Let's promote our organizations. Let's get free. Let's have the Uhuru mindset. Uhuru.
All right, and until next time, stay in the Uhuru state of mind.
You know, this is Uhuru Mindset. This is our program. And we appreciate everyone for tuning in and, you know, joining this discussion. We're going to continue to have these discussions. We're going to continue to engage with the community and create Uhuru mindsets wherever you are. So continue to tune into our program. Uhuru.